Welcome to episode 49. This is a continuing story from my mom about the family in France. The story is that the French Revolution, of course. Our family supported the French Revolution, and my mom's family basically was represented by a man named Field Marshal Luckner, Luckner, who was originally from Bavaria but went to work for Louis XVI and then joined Robespierre in the French Revolution and saved France at the Battle of Strasbourg by winning that battle and keeping the Austrians away. But what's interesting is what his reward was. Of course, French Revolution. His reward was to be beheaded, because Robespierre, who was head of the French Revolution, did not want a successful general around. So he killed him, right? And then, of course, later, Robespierre himself was finally beheaded by the French revolutionaries. So the French Revolution was pretty much a mess in many ways. So then, here's the story. So what happened to my mom's family? Well, they had to leave France, although they were French citizens, and they escaped to where Luckner had worked before, to Sweden, because Luckner had worked as a military guy for the King of Sweden. And so the family went to Sweden, and they settled in eastern Sweden, okay? And they changed their name so the French revolutionaries could not find them, because they were going to behead everybody in the family, of course. That was the rule. And so they changed their name to spell it backwards. So instead of being Luckner, they became Roncoul, which is Luckner spelled backwards, right? And that's how they hid from the French revolutionaries in eastern Sweden. But then what happened? Very interesting. In 1807, guess what happened? Russia annexed eastern Sweden and renamed it Finland. So my mom's family became Finnish. But although they originally Bavarians who became French, and now they were citizens of Sweden, but then they were taken over by Russia annexing eastern Sweden. So, and in my mom's family, their name was de Roncoul, or Van Roncoul. That was their family name. And an interesting thing I found on the internet was Van Roncoul actually was the managing director of the Russian railroad many years later. So because the French invested in the Russian railroads, so kind of interesting there. So what happened is my grandmother, who was von Roncoul, the people from Bavaria, married a Swedish guy, because she was living in Sweden, of course, and his name was George Victor Sinneberg, which is a very Swedish name, okay? When Russia took over Sweden, they took all of the Swedish military people and put them to work for the Tsar. Crazy, huh? So George Victor Sinneberg's family became Russian military. And in fact, my great-grandfather was a general in the Russian army for the Tsar of Russia, okay? And George Victor Sinneberg, his son, my grandfather, went to the military academy in St. Petersburg, I think, or Moscow, called the Corps de Page, where the pages were trained. And the Corps de Page were the young men, military men, either aristocrats or sons of military officers, who escorted the Tsar, Nicholas, around Russia and protected him. They were called the Corps de Page. So that's what my grandfather did. But my grandfather, George Victor Sinneberg, he loved diplomatic things, and he liked dressing up, etc. So he was really more of a diplomat. And he wanted to be a diplomat, and so he became a diplomat. And how he did that was he was appointed by Russia to be the military attaché to Japan, to Tokyo. And so he went over there, and the story that comes out of that's kind of interesting, is that he was taught to dance tango by an aristocrat royalty of Japan who learned to dance tango in Paris. So my grandfather, on my mother's side, also danced tango or was involved in tango. Very weird, huh? Crazy. And then Finland had a big war with Russia and won, basically. And so suddenly George Victor Sinneberg, who was the military attaché to Tokyo, became Finnish. And he was, of course, loyal to Sweden, or Finland, or whatever you want to call it. And so the president of Finland, knowing that my grandfather had this training in diplomacy, hired him. The president of Finland hired my grandfather, George Victor Sinneberg, to move to Shanghai and become the consul general of Shanghai for Finland. And Finland was selling wood products, which made paper for the Chinese money, right, and other things, and paper products. And so my grandfather settled in Shanghai, and my mother and he married my grandmother, who was Russian, and they had their babies in Shanghai. So my mom was born in Shanghai. And then the other thing that happened is George Victor Sinneberg, he worked in the embassy row in China. China did not have a central government, so actually, in effect, my grandfather was the ambassador to China, because there was no China. Shanghai was the most important city. So Consul General of Shanghai meant basically the top diplomat for Finland in China, which is what he was. And he was a sports guy, and he started a club called Club Sportif. French. It was in a French concession, the French area where the diplomats all lived, and this club became the top social club in Shanghai. And guess what they did at the social club? They danced tango. So my mom learned to dance tango, Argentine tango, from my grandfather. Is that wild? So small world, isn't it? You know, and so that's what happened to my mom and her family. They had to change countries many times because they were running away from the French revolutionary people who were trying to kill them, get rid of them, you know. So that's the story. So this is what happens when you're part of the French Revolution. You don't, you know, your life changes drastically. And then my mom went to school in Shanghai during the summertime, and then the rest of the year she went to school in Nice, France. A lot of the Russians, they didn't want to do the Russian winter, so they lived in Nice, France. And they didn't know anything about, they had a lot of money, but they didn't know anything about economy. So what they invested their money in was things like the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. And my mother took ballet classes at the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. And years later, she actually had classes with George Balanchine, who founded the New York City Ballet, who originally came from the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. So my mom grew up in France, speaking French, but living in Shanghai in the summertime. Very crazy. And she wanted to marry a cowboy. So she did. She married my dad in Texas. And that's how I got born in Texas, was because my mom married a cowboy. So pretty crazy. So this is what happened in her family. Pretty wild. So I hope you enjoyed this story. Very bizarre. So this story is brought to you by my sponsor, which is a very good company. It's called SONOSTICS. And it makes a machine that it created that you put under your feet when you're sitting at a desk, and it talks to your nerves in your body, talks to your brain, tells your brain to flex a muscle in your lower leg called the soleus muscle, and it's a pump. And what it does is it pumps all the fluids in your lower limbs up to your heart and helps your heart. So actually, you have two pumps in your body. You have this muscle in the lower leg, and you have your heart, of course. And when the soleus muscle is activated and exercised properly, which is what this machine can do for people that maybe can't walk very well, whatever, older people particularly, is it cures a lot of age-related diseases like poor blood circulation, particularly in the brain. And also now we're finding that after 6 months, people who are having cognitive problems, due to poor blood flow in the brain are returning to normal. So this machine actually may be the solution, and it is the solution, seems to be, to cognitive decline, stopping it and returning people to normal health. And also it relieves things like leg cramps, which you can get, and just general fluid buildup in your lower limbs, which is what happens to older people. And that's a great sponsor, and that's why I'm sponsoring this company. And what this company is doing is it's expanding around the world. Okay, it has a machine. The machine works, and it's been tested, and it's working great. But it wants to expand worldwide, of course, and so that's what we're doing. We're trying to make that possible, and that's why I'm sponsoring them, because I want to help them. This is a great idea, this machine. So the information on the company is below. You can click on that. And let's see what else. And if you want to help this channel, what you do is you can click on the like button. You can make a comment, whatever you want to say. I'll talk to you, be glad to. And you can also make a donation on buymeacoffee.com, which is a company that has 1 million subscribers. And it has a credit card system, and you put your credit card in there, and you can buy me a glass of wine, which is what this is, you can see, or a cup of coffee or whatever. And you can also make a donation, like Elon Musk. He collects $11 a month from people for what he's doing. He's more important than I am, but you can give a little money to this channel to support my stories. And I'm just telling you stories that I think might be interesting to you, and if you like them, let me know. Make a donation, buy me a glass of wine or a cup of coffee. Also, you can do something else. Oh yeah, you can become a subscriber. The more subscribers I have, the more this is circulated by YouTube. And I'm posting everywhere, just so you know. If you can look at this on YouTube, you can look at it on X, which is formerly Twitter. You can look at this on Facebook. You can look at this on Instagram. So I'm everywhere. I'm ubiquitous, as they say in the advertising world. So this is episode 49, and I hope you like it. And if you do, please try to support this channel and talk to me. Give me some comments. And where am I today? I'm at a cafe, and I'm having a great time. And this is good wine. So buy me a glass of wine if you can. You go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek Rawson, DerikRawson, but instead of an N, you put an R. It's a security thing. And then you go to this company, and you can put money. This company has 1 million subscribers. Their system works with all banks and all credit cards worldwide. So you can donate money to me from anywhere in the world, which would be great. And it lets me know that you care and that you like what I'm doing. And also, if you've got some ideas of things for me to talk about, let me know. Give me some comments. More activity on this channel, the better for me. All right, so finally, this is the end of episode 49. You'll see some end tags at the top if you're on YouTube, and you can click on those, and it'll go to other episodes I've done. One new one I added is a thing called playlist. And what a playlist is, it's a complete list of all of my podcasts. And you click on that, and you can see everything I've been doing and watch it. And you can watch all this stuff. This is all free. But if you want to donate, that's your choice. You can. And I would appreciate donations. It lets me know that people care. But you don't have to. This is free. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. This is the end of episode 49. Bye-bye.